Every season in the NFL brings hope. But if you're a fan of a team, you remember that moment where you felt like it could not get any worse. And then it did.
Where is this, SpongeBob?
Rock bottom.
Let's look back at every NFL team's rock bottom moment, and that's coming up right after this. Hey there, I might say dumb things all the time, but here's one thing that isn't dumb. Getting a first-time deposit bonus of up to $1,000 on Underdog. It's like they're letting you try it with virtually no risk. And right now, it's Boosttober, where you get a promo for every day of the month. Personally, I like streaks where if you hit 11 in a row, you can win 1,000 times your money. That's ridiculous. Let me show you how Pick'em works. In my opinion, the easiest way to play and win. You simply pick 2 to 8 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they will go higher or lower. And if you go 5 for 5, you can win 20 times your money. This weekend I have Travis Etienne, higher than 41.5 rushing yards. DJ Moore with higher than 63.5 receiving yards because the Jacksonville defense sucks. And Evan Ingram lower than 39.5 yards because, well, I'm a Giants fan. So after this video, head to UnderdogFantasy.com and use my promo code 5points or hit the link below and get started right away. Again, you can support this channel and my content by heading over to UnderdogFantasy.com and using promo code 5points to get a first-time deposit bonus of up to $1,000. AFC West, Las Vegas Raiders, 2006. The Raiders hit rock bottom during their disastrous 2006 season. One particular low point came in Week 16 when they lost 20-9 to the Kansas City Chiefs. The pathetic team mustered just 126 yards of total offense. This loss symbolized their offensive ineptitude, culminating in the dismissal of head coach Art Shell and another season of double-digit losses in the franchise's post-Super Bowl decline. And what did it earn them? Oh yeah, purple drink enjoyer Jamarcus Russell, who was just an extension of this rock-bottom moment. Denver Broncos 2022, Week 16. In a humiliating 51-14 blowout loss to the Los Angeles Rams, Russell Wilson threw 3 interceptions, and it was very clear that trading for the human cringe meme was a mistake.
Broncos country, let's ride.
This Christmas Day embarrassment led to the firing of first-year head coach Nathaniel Hackett, who was brought in to entice Aaron Rodgers, and well, that didn't work out. The team finished 5-12, and fans will never live down being roasted by Patrick fucking Star on national television.
That's not what he wanted to cook.
Kansas City Chiefs, 2012. The Chiefs' lowest point came in December of 2012 after the Joe Van Belcher incident at their team facilities. This event shocked the NFL and overshadowed a historically bad season in which the Chiefs finished 2-14. The team struggled on the field all year with poor quarterback play and a demoralized locker room, forcing a complete organizational overhaul and the hiring of head coach Andy Reid. LA Chargers, 2010. One of the most painful low points in Chargers history came in the 2010 season. Despite leading the NFL in both offensive and defensive rankings, the Chargers still missed the playoffs, starting the era of the Chargers chargering. The pivotal moment came in Week 15 when they lost 34-20 to the Cincinnati Bengals, who were playing a backup quarterback. The loss effectively ended their playoff hopes, marking a wasted season of immense talent. 7 years later, the team would just up and leave San Diego. The AFC South. Indianapolis Colts, 2011. In Week 7, the Colts were obliterated 62-7 by the New Orleans Saints. Curtis Painter, who played all year because Peyton Manning's head fell off and was surgically reattached, struggled under center, and the defense had no answers to basic questions. This humiliating beatdown on national TV was the marquee moment during a lost season for a team that would finish 2-14, ultimately leading to the departure of Manning and the completion of Suck for Luck. Although you might argue Luck retiring was its own rock bottom. Tennessee Titans 2014. The Titans' rock bottom moment came during the 2014 season when they finished a league worst 2-14. In Week 17, they capped off their miserable season with a 27-10 loss to the Colts. The team was starting Zach Mettenberger. Enough said. Though you could argue that Will Levis has grabbed a shovel and is digging deep to find new memes every week. Jacksonville Jaguars 2021, Week 14, and then Week 17. The Jaguars hit rock bottom in 2021 when head coach Urban Meyer was fired after just 13 games. A humiliating 20-0 Week 14 loss to the Tennessee Titans epitomized the dysfunction. Meyer's tenure was marred by off-field shenanigans, piss-poor leadership, and embarrassing moments like the head coach ironically kicking the kicker during practice. The loss prompted Meyer's dismissal, signaling a need for a complete cultural overhaul to restore the franchise's credibility, which, how's that going? The team's fans then staged a clown out to protest both their apathetic owner and GM Trent Baalke. Houston Texans 2019. The Texans' low point came in the 2019 divisional playoff where they built a 24-0 lead over the Kansas City Chiefs, only to collapse and lose 51-31. The game symbolized the team's inability to handle high-pressure moments. The aftermath of this defeat had lasting repercussions, leading to questions about Bill O'Brien's dwindling competence and the eventual dismantling of the roster, in particular Deshaun Watson, thinking he was worth way more than he was, marking the beginning of a painful rebuilding process that lasted until 2023. But hey, now you have the Strouds. The AFC North, Baltimore Ravens, 2007. In 2007, the Ravens hit rock bottom when they lost 22-16 in overtime to the winless Miami Dolphins. Entering the game with an 8-game losing streak, Baltimore was expected to handle the 0-13 Dolphins. They didn't. Instead, the Ravens were outplayed and fell in overtime, marking a low point in a 5-11 season that ultimately led to Super Bowl winning head coach Brian Billick's firing. Kyle Bowler was the QB on the team, and Rick Neuheisel was the OC. What a shit show. Cincinnati Bengals 2015. The Bengals' lowest moment came in the 2015 AFC wildcard game against the Steelers. Leading 16-15 with under 2 minutes left, Cincinnati had this game in the bag, but then a fumble and back-to-back unnecessary roughness penalties by Vontaze Burfict and Pac-Man Jones set up a game-winning field goal for Pittsburgh, resulting in a crushing 18-16 loss. This devastating defeat marked the end of the Bengals' 5-year playoff streak, and they wouldn't return to the postseason until they drafted Joe Burrow and experienced success in 2021. Cleveland Browns signing Deshaun Watson in 2022. You have to work pretty hard to somehow dig deeper than an 0-16 season. Jesus Christ. The Browns' low point came in 2022 when they signed quarterback Deshaun Epstein to a massive, fully guaranteed contract despite numerous allegations of misconduct against him. You know what kind. It highlighted Cleveland's willingness to overlook serious off-field issues in pursuit of on-field success, creating a moral and public relations crisis that continues to impact how the team is viewed by fans and the broader NFL community. On top of that, the on-field results haven't been worth the outlay of resources. They really thought Deshaun Diddy Combs was the missing piece to a Super Bowl run. Pittsburgh Steelers firing Chuck Noll after the 1991 season. The Steelers' rock bottom came with the firing of legendary head coach Chuck Noll following a disappointing 7-9 record in the 1991 season. Noll, who led Pittsburgh to 4 Super Bowl titles in the 70s, struggled to replicate that success in his later years with the team. The 1991 season's failures, marked by inconsistent quarterback play and a stagnant offense, brought his tenure to an end after 23 seasons. AFC East, New England Patriots, Bill Belichick's unceremonious end in 2023. The Patriots' lowest moment came in 2023 when Bill Belichick's legendary tenure ended with a dismal 5-12 season, marking his worst performance as a head coach. Once synonymous with success and rings, Belichick faced criticism for his inability to rebuild after Tom Brady's departure. His unceremonious exit after over 2 decades marked the end of New England's dynasty and left the franchise at a crossroads, something no fans of other teams have mourned. Buffalo Bills, 1994. It's hard to point to what would be the high point of 5 other NFL teams, but the Bills' rock bottom moment came after their 4th consecutive Super Bowl loss, falling 30-13 to the Dallas Cowboys in 1994. Buffalo's resilience to reach 4 straight Super Bowls was overshadowed by their inability to win one. The defeat cemented their legacy as a team that couldn't deliver on the biggest stage. Yes, there are dark moments after this, like drafting and playing J.P. Losman, a guy who fancied playing music versus actually playing football. Miami Dolphins, 1999. The Dolphins' low point came in the 1999 playoffs, where they suffered a humiliating 62-7 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This game marked the end of Dan Marino's Hall of Fame career and was the worst playoff loss in NFL history. And somehow, the game was worse than the score indicates. The defeat symbolized the decline of the Dolphins, who really haven't reached those levels of success since Snowflake got kidnapped. The New York Jets in 2012. This one was easy to call. It's simply one word: the butt fumble. Running into his lineman's backside and fumbling the ball, Mark Sanchez inserting his face into his teammate's ass became a lasting symbol of the Jets' dysfunction, which is so hard to do given the countless examples over the franchise's history. NFC West. San Francisco 49ers, Mike Singletary's rant in 2008. That year, the 49ers hit rock bottom during head coach Mike Singletary's famous post-game rant after a 34-13 loss to the Seahawks. Singletary publicly chastised tight end Vernon Davis, declaring he couldn't win with selfish players.
I will not tolerate players that think it's about them when it's about the team, cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them. Can't do it.
Singletary was wow, by the way. This outburst exposed the deep dysfunction within the team. The Niners have always been able to bounce back from lows, like trading up for Trey Lance, but the Mike Singletary era was a new one. The Arizona Cardinals drafting Josh Rosen in 2018. The Cardinals' low point came in 2018 when they drafted quarterback Josh Rosen 10th overall, with him saying that there were 9 mistakes ahead of him. Nobody, you were the mistake.
There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me.
Rosen's poor rookie season combined with an anemic offense led the Cardinals to finishing 3-13. The franchise quickly pivoted by firing head coach Steve Wilks and drafting Kyler Murray the following year, showing horrible asset management from an inept team. Los Angeles Rams 2009. The Rams hit rock bottom in 2009, finishing the season 1-15. Rookie quarterback Keith Noll made his first NFL start in week 14, epitomizing the team's desperation. Like, who even remembers Keith Noll? Like, if this dude told you he once started an NFL game in a bar, you'd quickly raise your bullshit meter. The season marked the Rams' worst record since moving to St. Louis and led to them drafting the ultimate bag securer Sam Bradford as part of a full rebuild. Seattle Seahawks, end of the Mike Holmgren era. The Seattle Seahawks rock bottom moment came in 2008 when they finished 4-12 in Mike Holmgren's final season as head coach. Injuries ravaged the team, and the once elite Hawks struggled in every phase of the game. Holmgren's departure after leading Seattle to 6 playoff appearances and a Super Bowl left the franchise in a state of transition. But unlike many others, that transition led to a competent rebuild and back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. The NFC South. New Orleans Saints, 1980. The Saints' rock bottom came in 1980 when they finished 1-15, the worst record in franchise history. Embarrassment reached its peak with fans donning Aints bags over their heads at the Superdome. Quarterback Archie Manning struggled behind a porous offensive line, and the team's lone victory came in Week 15. You could also argue that post-Katrina, when the Saints were forced to play a home game in New Jersey, where they got the shit kicked out of them while being distracted about a literal hurricane destroying their community, was also a low blow. Atlanta Falcons, Bobby Petrino quitting. This one is easy. Motorcycle enjoyer and overall scumbag Bobby Petrino quit the Falcons after Michael Vick got arrested. The spineless Petrino left a handwritten note to inform the team, creating a lasting sense of betrayal. The 2007 3-10 Falcons were left in disarray, symbolizing the franchise's darkest period as they dealt with the loss of Vick and a head coach who abandoned the team mid-season. 28-3 was also devastating, but not the franchise's lowest point. The Carolina Panthers trading up for Bryce Young in 2023. The Panthers' controversial decision to trade up for the first overall pick in 2023 to draft Bryce Young has become a defining moment in futility for this franchise that might actually still be digging to find bedrock. Young has struggled mightily in his first 2 seasons, even getting benched, and questions have emerged about whether the Panthers sacrificed too much in draft capital and talent, which culminated in them ironically watching the first-round pick and the wideout they traded for to watch them take a cornfield dump all over them. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jameis Winston's 30 for 30 season in 2019. Ah yes, Jameis Winston's famous season. Winston became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in a single season, epitomizing his erratic play. Despite his obvious talent and love of crab legs, Winston's carelessness with the ball doomed the Bucs' chances of competing, leading to their 7-9 finish. What's crazy is Winston could have done better had he had LASIK. It also blew his mind when he found out Bruce Arians was white. This frustrating season signaled the end of the Winston era and paved the way for Tom Brady's arrival and a Super Bowl. The NFC North, the Green Bay Packers. 2005. The Packers somehow managed to finish 4-12 in 2005 despite having Hall of Fame fundraiser Brett Favre under center. Favre struggled with turnovers, throwing 29 interceptions, the highest of his career. Injuries and poor roster depth contributed to the team's worst record in over a decade. All the while, Aaron Rodgers was watching from the bench, plotting his takeover and his aligned chakras. Detroit Lions 2008. The Lions' rock bottom moment came in 2008 when they became the first team to finish 0-16. You know the moment, Dan Orlovsky running out of the back of the end zone. This historically bad season led to a complete overhaul of the front office, including the hiring of head coach and wonderful time manager Jim Schwartz and the drafting of Matthew Stafford. Minnesota Vikings, Teddy Bridgewater's knee injury in 2016. The Vikings' 2016 season came with a lot of expectations, and then in one moment, they were gone. Teddy Bridgewater suffered a catastrophic non-contact knee injury during training camp, and their season was fucked. Bridgewater's injury forced the team to trade for Sam Bradford, and things were rough in Vikings country until Kirk Cousins was signed, and now savior Sam Darnold is under center. Chicago Bears 2022. The Bears' low point in recent history came in 2022 when they suffered an embarrassing 41-10 loss to the Detroit Lions in Week 17. Justin Fields struggled to move the offense, and the Bears' defense was thoroughly outclassed. Fields would be traded in the offseason. However, the Bears would garner draft capital from their own futility, as well as gifts from the Panthers, and their rapid turnaround seems underway. And finally, the NFC East. The New York Giants, the infamous boat picture in 2017. Ah yes, the boat picture where players were seen partying on a boat days before their wild card game against the Packers. The Giants lost 38-13 with key receivers including Odell Beckham Jr. dropping crucial passes. The image became a symbol of immaturity and lack of focus, leading to a disappointing 3-13 season the following year. Tom Coughlin would be unceremoniously dismissed, and Eli Manning would get benched as the Giants carted out 3 head coaches whose collective IQ was 3, and that's being generous. Washington Commanders, FedEx Field breaking on Jalen Hurts. The Commanders hit a new low in January of 2022 when a railing at FedEx Field collapsed as quarterback Jalen Hurts walked off after a win over Washington. Several fans fell dangerously close to Hurts, highlighting the dilapidated condition of the stadium. This photographer got crushed though.
Oh, great heavens!
This was emblematic of a losing culture that was spearheaded by human cancer Dan Snyder. Oh look, he leaves and immediately the team is doing better. Who would have thought the idiot in charge was the problem? The Dallas Cowboys' Tony Romo's injury in 2015. The year is 2015 and Tony Romo has suffered a broken collarbone in week 2 against the Eagles. After briefly returning, Romo re-injured the collarbone on Thanksgiving, ending his season. Those Cowboys went 4-12, struggling without their star quarterback. Man, I miss those days. It's amazing that Jason Garrett, aka the Clapper, actually survived that season and went on to coach 4 more seasons in Arlington, which for Cowboys fans is not a positive. Philadelphia Eagles purposely tanking the 2020 season finale. The Eagles' rock bottom came in week 17 of the 2020 season when head coach Doug Peterson controversially benched quarterback Jalen Hurts in favor of Nate Sudfeld, seemingly tanking in a 2014 loss to Washington as a intentional fuck you to the New York Giants, who missed the playoffs because of this petty move. The decision marked the end of Peterson's tenure, tarnishing his Super Bowl winning legacy and raising questions about the team's competitive integrity. Well, owner Jeffrey Lurie saw it fit to replace Peterson with Nick Sirianni, who has seen success despite himself. Well, what do you think? Do you have a different rock bottom moment for your franchise? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to check out underdogfantasy.com and use my code 5points to get a first-time deposit bonus of up to $1,000. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to my next video.